Mark finishes 2-1 on the day to Harrogate. Just give us your assessment of the performance.
I thought we were disgraced when we went ahead, to be honest. I thought first half was exactly what the game could have been, and we had decent enough control of it without threatening too much. Start the second half well, get ourselves ahead, have two good moments after that, and then from that point on, it's just a pattern emerged in the team that we go ahead and throw games away. We've done it way too often. I think been ahead in 4 of our last, 6 games, something like that, and not taking anything from the game. As a really average game, it always had that potential in there, but probably a bit like everybody else in the stadium, I absolutely hated the last half hour, and it was as rubbish as everyone thought. So we deserve to be booed off, because that is miles off a good team there.
Was it doubly frustrating that you worked so hard to get yourselves in front, and then kind of undone that good work, I think, in the space of 12 second half minutes?
Yeah, and after the first one, we have a good moment where Max needs to slide it across the box, and we maybe get a tap in, and we don't use that. Nev hits the outside of the post, so we had a bit of momentum off the back of that, and the goal's a good one. It was probably always going to be a bit of a set play type day, because it was tricky in terms of conditions to play in. But yeah, you always think the first goal could be important, but the personality of the team was hopeless in the end. Hopeless. Like, body language, played defeated once we conceded, and it's just a pattern. It's emerged time and time again. So yeah, we got to change it. There needs to be huge change, because it happens too often.
Of course, yeah, you've got to wait a little while to have a break in fixtures now. Is that actually the last thing you want right now, or is that irrelevant at this moment in time?
It is irrelevant. I don't really know. We'll be training a lot, we're working hard, and yeah, I hope players feel miserable, because everyone else that was here feel miserable today. I hated everything about the end of the game, and we have a good chance. Josh should take the chance at the end, and then we get a point out of the game, and you'd be relieved with a point out of the game. And the balance of that game, like, if it ends up level, no one really says a thing about it, but you'd still say it was a performance that you didn't like in lots of the second half. And I think that's the pattern bit for me that I just really disliked. How lacking in aggression we were, how lacking in intent we were to try and make something happen, how very few players were available for the ball, how our retention of the ball in the second half became kick, rush, all of a sudden no one to pass to, whereas when we're on top and we're in the balance and we've got some momentum, it looks like there is. Like that is not the personality of a team that we should be trying to build. So loads of work to do, loads of work for the players to do, and dangerous to tell the truth as the players, because then you see who's going to come with it or not. You have to take results in games like that. That's a given, really. We've lost way too many games for the team that we're trying to become.
Mark, appreciate your time as always. Ben?
Mark, for me, it felt a bit like deja vu to the Accrington game. At 1-0 up, you think, right, this team's going to go on and win the game now, and it's another, defeat to a bottom half side at home, and you've been ahead.
Yeah, but I think everyone thinks that just because we're used to winning 1-0. You only win 1-0 if either A, you defend brilliantly and make it hard for them, and we didn't. Like, the defending for the first goal is a disgrace. Not only does he get an easy shot, but the pressure on the edge of the box is there, and everyone else is like in the 6-yard box, and he drifts off our man and just scores a tap-in. Like, that's hopeless. At no time can you defend a goal and give a goal away as easy as that. And then the second one, we don't even track a runner through and give him an easy 1v1. We're not landing on a second ball and secure in midfield. Like, the goals are awful. So you can go 1-0 up and think, yeah, we are indestructible in this moment. Not if you defend like that. And then, like, where's the mentality to try and win the game and score again? And we talk about being ruthless and taking the game when you've got it, and we had some momentum in the time we score. We have 2 moments after it. It's almost as if, like, we don't take them, and then everything sucks out of the team, as if say, oh well, that's the chance gone. Like, that is so soft. That is like, top teams don't do that. And if we want to be one, like, we've got so much to do, and whether that's changing shape, systems, players, whatever it is, like, this squad needs time, definitely. The project's big. And we need to keep adding to the squad, because after 16 games we're showing too many patterns of the team that's been average for the last couple of years, and if we want to be a better team than that, we're going to have to change things quite a bit.
I guess you're going to have some thinking to do in terms of how do I stop these patterns reoccurring in terms of that game management, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, when we've played the top teams and we've had a bit of fight in us and we've got ourselves ahead, that hasn't been the case at all. It's been completely different. So that is a mentality thing. So yeah, try and change it. or change the players, because if they can't do it, and there's no good being a good team one week and a bad one the next. That's a waste of everyone's time and money. Like, what's the point? We're either going to do it properly or we're not, and the players will either do it or they won't do it, and I'll either be here to do it or I won't be. But like, in the end, it's one of them, isn't it? It's like, be better than that, because that's like, first half fine, it was all right, we had some control of it, it's a scruffy day, it's probably going to be a bit like that the game. I think every game in our league was 0-0 at half time. That's probably what it was a little bit, and then get on top and you think the first goal should be pivotal in the game, but it's not if you play like that afterwards.
You talked about the players in big games, you know, sometimes getting it done. Is it complacency against, you know, bottom half side?
I don't think so. No one's good enough for that. So like, I don't think it is. It's just a mentality that, like, when you go ahead against the top teams and you accept that they're going to have the ball a little bit and you can defend a little bit lower and a little bit more connected, fine. It's when we've got to force the issue. It's when we've got to defend big spaces. It's when we've got to stop getting deep. And like, how many balls did we not win first and second contact for in the second half? How far away were we from the first ball when it drops out the sky in too many moments? How often do we not play each other? Whether it's a fear in the team, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. We've got to work out what it is, and we've got to work out who can do it regularly and who can't, who wants to do it and who can't, whose body language is I'm sulking because I'm not playing or I've not played. It's just pathetic. Like, the second half in the end, like, was just horrid. What a load of rubbish gets sang at full time, we get booed off, and no one's wrong. And the players know that as well. It was rubbish in the end. So we don't deserve anything from the game, even though we should still take something from it with the moments that we have. But we've gift wrapped them a game. And I make you right, I think that is in a pattern of a couple of the games here against a few of the sides that we've played against, that have, in the end, ran a bit harder, fought a bit more for us in the key moments where they needed to. And we've got to get a balance here of being a team that can do that, the fight and scruff bit, but can dominate a game and create a chance and make their goalkeeper work, because too often that hasn't happened. We haven't looked at threatening enough side, anywhere near enough.
How is that going to be for you to kind of, you know, draw a bit of personality and character out of this group then?
Well, first I think you just rely on the character of the players, integrity of the players, their own desire to win, which, let's be fair, it's been there in loads of the games that we've played. Like, the bit that's really hard to get your head around is the team we are at the start of the season, the team we've been on in certain games and in certain days where we've shown real quality in moments with the ball, where we've been a ruthless team defensively and so hard to create a chance against in some of those games, where we've shown unbelievable desire and togetherness to get through a game, where our work ethic's been off the charts. So we know that's there. But it's how you can go from that to the other, not only from game to game, but sometimes in a game, like in a game that we're in control of and we've got ahead of, and you just think the game can't unravel like that. And that's where, a little bit of that is individual players taking some responsibility to do that, us collectively working with the team to get that out of them more often, because it can't be that in a game it can go from that to that, or from one game to the next. Like, the best teams stack results together, and we did it at the start. But as I made clear at the start, after the first 6 weeks, teams know a bit about each other. Now at the moment, if you play us here, you know how to beat us, because the pattern's there for everyone to see. So basically, demand better, practice harder, and make sure that the players fancy being more than a mid-table side.
Just one thing about the game itself, Marcus Wiley, in the first half, did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah, I did. I thought the ref was almost as bad as us. And you need those moments. I thought it was a penalty. I thought there was some, like, he gives a foul against George Lapsley in the second half. You just think, that's nuts. Like, it's absolutely mental. Some of the decisions that go against you, they're just moments that could maybe turn it. It's an absolute nailed on corner for us at 2-1, and it's a goal kick given. Now, that's not why we lose, but scoring a penalty in the first half might have made a big difference. And when you've got those tiny bits of momentum, it can make a difference. Look at the second half. We created 2 or 3 good attacks in the start of it. We get 2 or 3 consecutive set plays at the top end of the pitch. The roar from the Rainer men gets up. We score off the second or third of them. That is no shock. That's how it works. It's in those moments of pressure that things build, and mistakes happen and goals happen and so on. And that's why you do need those moments to go for you. But when you're relying just on that ain't good enough. You've got to create enough moments yourselves and enough pressure yourselves that, all right, that one didn't get given for us, but we had 7 other attempts where we got in the box with the ball, or 8 other attempts where we've got corners from because we're being a dominant side. And we weren't enough of that in the sort of probably 30 minutes in the second half. Certainly once the game was level, for sure.
Sorry, I'm clearly frustrated today. Did you sort of make that clear with the players? Have you sort of gone on them hard, or do you say that on Monday? I mean, how do you deal with them?
That's for us to know. The dressing room is the dressing room.
Okay. Not the birthday you wanted, eh?
That's irrelevant.
It's relevant.
Yeah.
How are you sitting here, Phil? I mean, you said there's still so much more to do. Did you imagine by the end of November that would be the case? Or?
Yeah, I did. I think there's lots to do. There's lots of changes needed. There's lots of time to see who's coming, who's with us on this. Like January's around the window. Who's in the fight for the season. Lots of players in the last year of the contract. Who's fighting to stay with it and wants to be a team that takes us where we want to get to. That is the question to everybody, really. So there's opportunity and potential for huge change. Maybe not so much January, but certainly at the end of the season. And like, we don't want to be this team that has little streaky periods and is okay one week and not the next. If we're going to do what we want to do, that's a long way from it. We've seen snippets and highlights of it looking like we want to at times this year, but we're yet to put that together. Now, part of that is sometimes player availability and things like that, and getting people up to speed, and we've had our issues with that. But at the same time, there's enough good players on the pitch, there's enough experience on the pitch, there's enough quality on the pitch, but there isn't enough personality on the pitch too often, or there isn't enough athleticism on the pitch too often for us to be the team I want us to be at the moment.
You had a lot of players back as well today. There were 2 or 3 players that you hadn't had available for a while, so that must have been a pre-match boost at least, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think with like Robbie's only trained a week, having been out for 6 weeks, so he's not quite up to speed yet. Lapo fine, back and available, trained this week. Aaron Rose trained but isn't quite available yet to play, I don't think. Josh Andrews is obviously chipping away. Nev's trained for a week or so that's helped today to just get him going again, but he's going to take a bit of time. That's the pattern where we've been too often. And then there was obviously big decisions to make around who's in squads and who's in teams and everything. And the truth probably is there ain't loads of players that could be smashing the door down if they're not involved. And that's a problem. That's a problem. So yeah, it's a really difficult team to pick, because if you're not quite sure what you're going to get from players, and there hasn't been too many hitting real high consistent levels, that becomes a little bit more difficult. So the challenge for them is like, be better and then make it impossible that you can't be in the team. And obviously we've changed around with shape and things recently, and in part that helped, but too often today we weren't what we needed to be in the second half, and that's why we end up losing the game, which I don't think we should lose, but I think we deserve to.
How's Armani Little? Because he's obviously a player that possibly could make a difference, a key player.
Yeah, hopefully back for Bromley, so he should be building up his training next week.
I forgot exactly what I was going to say. The stop-start period that you've had recently with games, you had games, you haven't had games, we've gone. Is that unhelpful at the minute?
It doesn't matter. It is what it is, and if people want an excuse like for that, we train hard, we work hard, get out and be a good team. We were all right. It didn't affect us in the first half. It didn't affect us to start the second half. It didn't affect us getting on top of the game and scoring. It didn't affect us in the 5 minutes after, where we have 2 more chances to score. And it's got nothing to do with the 30 minutes after it where we were hopeless. That's down to personality, quality, desire to be on the winning team. And that is what is lacking too often in a consistent basis to be the team we've seen sometimes, but not often enough.